Hey guys, what is going on and welcome to a Marvel Rivals video here on the channel where today we are finally looking at the Marvel Zombies game mode. Now, I know I'm a few days late to this, I just was busy unfortunately, but Marvel Zombies is here for 3 weeks. Unfortunately it is not a permanent game mode, which I know a lot of people wanted it to be, but it isn't. But Marvel Zombies is here. Under Khonshu's watchful eye, unite with Marvel's mightiest to reclaim Midtown from the undead horde. Your mission, find the Queen of the Dead and defeat her evil once and for all. So, there are 5 different characters that you can play in this, which is the Punisher, Magic, Thor, Blade and Jeff the Landshark. You can then get special traits and stuff to boost them all up and make them more powerful. You have a special career for this game mode, because there are 7 different difficulties that you must work through, plus you have an event level alongside it. Then there are also Khonshu's blessings, which are extra little abilities that you can get in the game to make it even easier to actually go. So before we start, we actually do have to assign a point on our traits for our different characters. Hearing a lot about the Blade being really good for health regen, so is Magic, but then again I'm hearing the same thing about all of them being quite useful. So all in all, let's assign some points and then we'll go in and have a go at just the normal difficulty. So folks, it is worth noting that this game mode is played in Midtown.
You have one task, my fist. Locate the Queen of the Dead.
And you can play as the same character as your teammates, so you can have a full squad of 4 blades if you really wish. But all in all, you must prepare to face the zombie horde.
Zombies. All the carnage, none of the guilt.
Have been corrupted by chaos magic.
Oh, this is nice.
Vanquish them.
But we can sort of buy extra things. Honestly, on normal difficulty, this really doesn't feel that bad. But that was only the first wave.
Zombies near the Baxter building. Eliminate them.
But we get ourselves some extra abilities and we prepare for the next wave. I have just realised as well that I also have the shotgun as Punisher. I feel like Punisher is definitely good, but he'll be better if I have more abilities, which I just don't have yet. But regardless, I'm going to try and up my damage as much as I can, but I am also trying to keep some health just in case. But anyway, we're on to phase 3.
Travels, adventurers.
Right. seeing as we probably don't want to watch the full thing, let's skip forward just a little bit. Okay, so phase 4 is actually a defense stage, where we are supposed to defend the Spirit of Khonshu, which is quite cool actually. Didn't expect there to be different rounds like this. I also have got to admit, I'm definitely letting my team down. I definitely have significantly less kills than the others do. But I feel like in a way that's understandable. This is my first one, and they're playing more of the metas, whereas I am just sort of learning on the fly, which isn't dreadful, but these sentinels are actually really annoying to try and kill. I'm going to use my turret to try and kill them, but if this is what normal difficulty is like, it does make me start questioning what, like, the nightmare modes are like. And I know a lot of people are saying Nightmare 4 is difficult. Up until that point, a lot of people are like, oh, it's really not that bad. But yeah, from what I'm hearing, Nightmare 4 is nasty difficult. And then you get a random blessing. That's really nice, actually. So that's just giving me extra points that I can then spend to get extra abilities. I'm just trying to get as much damage up as I can. That Zeus's thunder looks so good. Chain lightning. Ooh, I'm gonna save up for that. But anyway, phase 5 is defeat zombie Namor. Oh, so it's like a mini boss fight. Okay, I guess we can give that a go. Oh my god, this looks like it's probably going to be quite horrible. Oh, it looks like we just have to focus on taking out his monstros. Okay. I can focus on the monster spawns. At least I think that's the way we have to do it. But I'm not entirely sure. It does appear to work that way. Okay. And then once we take out enough spawns, his shield is now down and we can actually take him out. Okay. This is an interesting mini boss actually.
Judge, jury, executioner.
Feels kind of horrible trying to actually deal good damage. So maybe Punisher isn't the way to go until you can boost him up a little bit. But anyway, we have done that, so it looks like the next one is just a regular round. So let's continue on. So folks, it's also worth noting that a little bit like the previous game mode that used these upgrade card features, we do still have it set that effectively, as you claim a certain amount of cards of a certain type, what happens is you get a special boost. So what I've got here, for example, because I focused on the assault rifle, it now shoots multiple bullets in a line instead of just shooting one bullet ahead. which is actually kind of nice to see. So, I guess you can almost utilise that to your advantage. Problem is the zombie hordes are obviously going to also get thicker and thicker as time goes on. So like, while yeah, it's great that I have this chain lightning now and I have this widespread where I shoot 5 bullets, I also have so many more enemies to actually face. So, I guess you're never going to be overpowered in a game mode like this. And like I say, this is only the normal difficulty as well, but do keep in mind that obviously as you level up in the game mode, you will be able to get extra traits on your different characters so that you can actually get more damage output, more lifesteal, stuff like that. And if you want to know your stats, you can just hold down your leaderboard button and it pulls it up there. You can see my stats. I think the number that comes in the stats is just the amount of damage that you've dealt. So, to be honest, I've dealt nearly 200,000 damage. It's pretty good, in my opinion. I also have quite a good amount of kills. Nowhere near as good as the magic, though. I will admit that. But, anyway, let's see if we can get further. Honestly, I feel like this stage is quite interesting. The fact that you have to kill a certain amount in a certain amount of time makes things just that little bit more scary. Because now, not only do you have to kill a ton of zombies, but you have to kill them all quickly enough that you pass the mission parameters. Which, I guess, just adds another layer of difficulty to it. What I have found interesting is that our blade really does seem to be dying a lot. Anyway, let's head to the boss fight. So folks, here we are, stage 9, the boss fight against the Queen of the Dead, Wanda. Now, the biggest problem that I'm hearing a lot of people having with this boss fight at all levels, but it becomes particularly annoying at the higher levels, especially Nightmare 4 when you're facing not one but 2 Wandas. But a lot of people seem to be having this problem with her stun lock ability being particularly annoying. So let's see if we can shred her out a little bit. At some point she does appear to gain quite a nasty shield. If you can take down the shield as well, you do get this lovely capability of stunning her. So that does feel quite good to do. But honestly, for normal difficulty, like, there's a bit of a challenge to it, but it's not too bad. So, let's skip a little bit of this boss fight, finish off Wanda, and see what's next. So, just like that, we defeated Wanda. The magic, of course, was our MVP. That was understandable. It was inevitable that they would, but we do gain some regular XP for your normal level, but you also have a special level for the mode specifically. The mode specific level is where you're going to get extra points for traits and such, but let's have a little look at our stats before we continue, and honestly, I don't think we did too shabby. Like, for our first time, not bad. But anyway, let's continue on. So, your missions. You actually have a mission to clear each and every level. For the first level, so normal, you get a Marvel Zombie spray. For the first 4 levels, you get 100 units. And then for the Nightmare 2, 3, and 4, you get a Pumpkin Lantern for the event. And you do get a title, the first one being Undead Nightmare, the next one Zombie's End, and then the final one is the Queen Slayer title. So you have 3 weeks, obviously, to get these, just progress through naturally. If we go and have a little look now at like the career, we are on event level 8. We can now add extra trade points trait points to all of the different characters, but it is worth noting that the maximum is going to be 40 levels, so you can't put 40 on the red and 40 on the blue. You do have to think about where you want to assign those points. But all in all, looks pretty cool. We also have Holy Onks. Oh, which allows you to keep fighting when a hero is down and you can buy them for 100 units. Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, you can also switch out characters' abilities, which is interesting because it might be beneficial to switch them out slightly. So do make sure you check through and see what you want to get done. But anyway, let's continue. So folks, just as an example, on hard difficulty now, you can see there that I actually now don't need to shoot my own turret. My turret will auto-fire for me. So this is the other good thing about leveling up your rank, is that you actually, when you switch the abilities out, can basically get an upgraded version, and there's like 2 different upgraded versions that you can choose from. But switching out your abilities for better versions will actually just provide you with a lot of extra firepower, which might be really useful in taking down the enemies. The other thing that's worth noting as well is some of the cards that you can get, such as one that I just got. Automatic tracking towards the head for 1 second. So all of my bullets are going to hone in on their heads. That sounds really useful. So let's see how much of a difference it makes. One very cool thing I've just discovered is if you use the ability that allows you to see breakable walls in normal games, it will highlight where all the zombies are for you, and like, honestly, that makes it kind of look scary. But no, the other thing that is really cool to know is just how powerful you can make your weapons when you go up to the next tiers. So like, if you look here, the second tier, bullets no longer lose damage over distance, knock back enemies on hit, and have an increased hitbox size. And then on the third tier, bullets split into additional fragments upon hitting an enemy. That's insane. So you can become very powerful in this game mode. I feel like stage 7 is actually one of the harder stages. This is the one where you have to make your way through the tunnels, killing all the zombies in your path while making your way to the rendezvous point. And like, it is actually kind of difficult to do this. In fact, I have just faced my first death. So for those of you that don't know, that haven't really played the game mode yet, and are using this as sort of like a intro to the game mode, effectively what happens when you die is you can either use one of those tokens that I mentioned earlier, just respawn yourself straight away, or you can just wait a few seconds and get respawned either way. Effectively, if your team are going to get overrun, then realistically you probably want to use one of those tokens. So folks, just to showcase a little bit of like how much more powerful both Wanda is, but then I am now that I've been upgraded a little bit. The amount of damage that we can get on her is huge. And like, you can be damn well sure I'm going to utilise this, but what I'm actually starting to think is, unless I upgrade it, the ult ability is actually not the way to go. My assault rifle is that much more powerful. If I can keep focusing on the head, you can hear it yourself. Headshot damage is insanely powerful. So I think you're going to need to experiment a little bit, but all in all, it's a very fun game mode. But one other thing worth noting towards the end of the Wanda boss fight is her reality erasure. So if you are not quick enough to finish off the final bit, she will unleash effectively her ult ability. But there are crystals around her that you can destroy to slow that down, so it shouldn't be too hard. And just like that, we defeated Wanda. And I actually managed to deal over 1 million damage this time. 160 kills, about the same as last time though. But all in all, you can become quite powerful quite quickly. So folks, just a little look going into Extreme, which is where I am going to end this video, but going into Extreme, you'll see even on the first wave we already have a couple of the big shielded ones, so you can see the difficulty is not just in the amount of zombies and their health and damage, but also in generally which ones spawn. So I think it probably can become quite difficult quite quickly, but I think Extreme shouldn't be too bad. I think it's more the Nightmare modes where it becomes a problem, specifically Nightmare 2, 3, and then even 4. But 4 is obviously going to be hard. Nightmare 4 is supposed to be the final boss level, pretty much. Also, the abilities that you actually get are much more powerful as well. You can see there, like that frozen one seems like it could be quite an insanely powerful ability. So, all in all, yeah, it's going to get harder, but you're going to get more powerful. This one seems like it would be really good. After 30 headshots, activate bullet tracking, auto-aiming at enemies' heads. That just seems like it'll be really powerful, and if you get multiple copies of it, it boosts it up a little bit better so that the actual ability itself is even more powerful for you. Honestly, it's starting to look like it's quite fun to get quite overpowered. But look, even now, just on Extreme, Namor is now all the way at 630,000 health, which is actually huge compared to what it was on the first one on the normal. So like, it's going to get very difficult very quickly. Very, very difficult. So folks, just how much more powerful is Wanda in Extreme difficulty? Nearly 2 million health. So, it's honestly very clear at this point just how much more difficult it will get. Like, the damage ramp up has been huge just from normal to Extreme. So, throughout the 4 Nightmare modes, you can already imagine how hard it's going to get. So, let's head back to the lobby after completing this and think about some advice. So folks, here you can see just how much more damage you're actually dealing in Extreme. I did 2.5 million. It gets hard quite quickly, and it's also worth noting that in the Nightmare modes you do actually get more waves. So in Nightmares 1, 2 and 3, as far as I know, it's 12, and then Nightmare 4, as far as I'm aware, is 20 waves. So not only is it going to get harder, but it's also going to get longer. I know some people are spending up to an hour in a Nightmare 4 run. So what is my advice for you with this game mode? My greatest piece of advice for you is don't be afraid to be a one-trick pony. Like, with me in the Punisher, I wasn't even using my ult ability because, if anything, the ult ability was worse than the actual assault rifle. I'm just throwing everything at the assault rifle, and it makes me so much more powerful when I do that. So don't be afraid to just go one trick. And honestly, every single character is viable in this game mode. It doesn't matter who you're playing, you can still do well as long as you have the traits in a specific pathway. Put it all in one pathway. Don't try and spread yourself thin, because if you become a jack of all trades, you'll be a king of none. So, with all that said and done, guys, that is the Marvel Zombies game mode here in Marvel Rivals. I hope you found this video informative, enjoyable and fun to watch as always, and I'll see you all in the next one.